Hey everyone, my name is Amanda and I'm the Fun Size Reader, and today we are here to talk about Awakens for Fun Size Book Club for August of 2022. So I'm going to start off like normal and do my synopsis and star ratings and all of that, and then we'll get into the spoilers and the book club discussion. So this book is about a girl named Vhalla, and she is a library apprentice for her empire. She basically works in the library and does all these different tasks. She's lived there most of her life because her father was sent off into war years ago. He is still alive, but that's where she is now. She is in a world where there are sorcerers who have different types of magic. They're elemental magics, and so it's like fire, earth, water, and air, but air doesn't exist. One night, she is told by the master of the library that the prince has been injured and all of the apprentices need to find everything they know about magical potions. She thinks that it is the Prince Aldrik, and she had an interaction with him. She thinks it's kind of cute. And so she's like, oh my gosh, I have to save him. So she pours all of her efforts into trying to save this prince. And she finds out that it wasn't him, that it was the other one. And she did save him. That event kind of starts a conglomeration of different things happening that makes Vhalla find out that she actually does have magic, and she has to decide between the life that she's always known and going into the magical world, which has always been feared by people without magic. If you have followed along with book club, you know that I actually have read this book before. I've read the whole series and I've been wanting to reread it, and so I decided what better time than to do it for book club. And I'm so glad I reread this because there was so much that I did not remember. I remember like snippets. You guys know how it is with me. I pretty much lose what happens in a book immediately. After I finish it, I lose their names. I lose the things that happened. I remember if I liked it or I didn't like it, but once I close the book, like it's gone. So I really have to take notes, or I have to like read the synopsis from Goodreads and try to figure out what happened. Otherwise, I do not remember. So I'm glad I reread this one. But when I went back and I looked at my Goodreads rating from the first time I read it, I saw that I gave it 4 stars, and I am sticking with that. I really liked this first book. Now, I know things get better, but this is very much a setup book. It's a book that gives you pieces of what's going on and kind of gets the story rolling. It's still really good in and of itself, but the whole rest of the series just turns amazing. And so you needed this setup book. And so I'm sticking with the 4 stars. I really, really liked it. And that's that. Spice rating on this one. I know some of you may be disappointed. I don't know, based on a lot of you that read alongside me with my book club and like things that we've read in the past. This has no spice in it. This book has no spice in it. This is the setup for what is like the devastating romance that will be throughout the entire series, okay? It is a tension book. I don't want to call it steamy because it's not steamy, because it's full of tension and longing. You know what I mean? So it's got 0 explicitness, and it's got kind of like things are heating up, but they're really tense. You can feel that like attraction and desire and all of that, but it's brewing. It's brewing. Does that make sense? So it is clean. It is a clean romance so far. I don't really remember how it gets, to be honest with you. That's where we're setting up the story, is this relationship / friendship / whatever it is between Vhalla and Aldrik. If you have not read this book, you have not participated in book club, please go read it. It's on Kindle Unlimited. You can order hard copies. I'll put the links down in the description. But like, this series is just so good. It's such a great fantasy series. It's so addicting. You just want to keep reading them, and I am the same, even though I've read it already. So now I'm going to start the spoiler / discussion section for book club this month for Awakens. So if you haven't read it, come back later. If you have read it, here we go. All right, friends. So I gotta know, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Did you like this? I really hope you liked it, because really love this series so much. It was different reading it again after I've become more of a seasoned fantasy reader, but I think like that still stays with the 4 stars setup book kind of vibe that I was talking about earlier. I realized as I was reading this how much I rely on that first person narrative to get me really feeling about books. Like sometimes I feel that first person narrative makes the character seem like my mind is, right? Because you're reading it through the eyes of a character. And sometimes I feel like the third person narrative makes you a little bit more detached and it almost seems younger. I kind of felt that way rereading this book. It felt like a little bit younger, but Elise still like pulls you in. She still sucks you in, even though it's written in the third person and there's like narration. I love Vhalla. I love that she has this like feeling that she needs to save everyone. That will come into play, I promise you. So I really, really love Vhalla. I have some things to say though about Sareem. I really don't like Sareem, and I don't think that that means he deserved to die in the book, but like but he's gone now, so it's fine. I will warn you guys, Elise Kova is not afraid to kill off characters. Like, there's truly some devastation in the pages of this series. So I was not surprised that Sareem was gone. Well, I mean, I was because I kind of forgot, but yeah, Sareem is gone. So I think he was selfish, and he was this whole act of like, I don't care what you are, I just want to be with you. No, you were looking up things on eradication, sir. Like, you don't actually care what she is. So yeah, there's that. Also, I love a good ball scene. I love a good ball scene. But of course, this one ended in freaking tragedy and stirred up the whole trial that Vhalla had to be on, which, you know, I completely forgot about. So I'm really glad we got a ball. I forgot about that. The side characters, you guys, the side characters. Okay, I love Fritz. He just seems like somebody that is gonna be your best friend, and I love that character so much. I really want to know if he's based on someone in real life, because he's just so like quirky and happy and fun, and just I just want to give him a hug. I also love Laurel, because I think Laurel truly cares about Vhalla and about Aldrik, and it's just some of my favorites. Baldair too, like I love him. I love him. He seems kind of douchey right now, but I do love him. I love him as a character. That is one thing that gets me in Elise's books, is that you just feel everybody that she puts in here, and you love them all, and you want them to stay around, and you don't know who's going to stay around and who's not. Aldrik. Please tell me you guys like Aldrik. I think so. Okay, this whole like morally gray trend that we've got going on here, right? I have read some books with morally gray characters, and sometimes I really don't like them. I think Aldrik is my kind of morally gray, right? He wants to be a good person, but he knows his duty makes him do terrible things. And he can do terrible things, so he thinks he's a monster, but he really wants to be good, and he wants people to see the good in him, but he has to put on this act, right? That is my favorite type of morally gray. That's it. That is it. I think morally gray is a term that has, shall I say, 50 shades. Like, there are so many shades of gray, right? And I think this type of Aldrik character is my favorite shade of morally gray, especially in fantasy. I like morally gray characters more in fantasy than I do in reality. I think they're more palatable. They're easier to accept as being morally gray because it's not real. But Aldrik is that kind of morally gray character. I just want to give him a hug. Like, I just want him to feel accepted. And Vhalla like kind of did that, except they said that they were just friends at the end, and I was like, come on, guys. figure it out. I love the little writing notes. I was just glancing through the pages. In the Kindle version, it doesn't have the notes like set out like they are, so it's slightly confusing. But in this version, they are set out, which is really fun. It reminds me of Reese and the note writing, and I love that. I love note passing. It's just a fun little trope that I enjoy. I really love that the storyline like picked up. Like when I said that this was a setup book, I feel like there was a large part of the book that was kind of her fighting what she is and going back and wanting to be an apprentice and learning and all of that. And sometimes that can get a little slow, but I love how in the end of Elise's books, everything picks up. You have this, you know, she's on trial for murder and she is on trial for treason and all of this stuff, and they're basically trying to kill the Windwalker again, and you kind of just are thrown into this chaos. And I think it makes up for a little bit of the setup in the beginning of the books. I forgot that whole thing happened. I knew she was going into the military, but I forgot how she got there. And now I remember. So, you guys, I really hope you liked this book. I really hope you did. If you didn't, I'm sorry. But if you didn't, like, maybe try reading the second one, because like I said, this is a setup. I think all the rest of them were 5 stars for me. Maybe one of them was another 4-star. But after the first one, it's just like, yes, so good. I will put the links for them down in the description below. I know they are all still available on Kindle Unlimited. That's where I read it. I didn't read it, my physical copy. I read it on my Kindle. So they are still available on Kindle Unlimited if you are interested in reading them there. But if not, I'll put the links so you can check them out. Thanks for coming to book club this month, guys. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed Awakens. I hope you want to read the rest of the series. I will probably read them sporadically now that I've reread the first one, so I remember things that happened, so I'll sprinkle them in throughout the rest of the year. Don't forget to stay tuned to find out what we are reading in September, and don't forget, you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The Fun Size Reader. See you guys next time.